Hello everyone, welcome to this series of GATE Aerospace previous year's question solutions. We have covered two videos so far, and in this video we are going to cover the questions of GATE 2012. So there is one question from the last video that we are going to repeat today with a different method. In this question, the data has been changed. So I'm going to use updated data set for solving this question, and let's see how we can solve these kind of questions. Also, I'll be using a different method to solve this question altogether. Now the question says 5 skilled workers can build a wall in 20 days. So there are 5 skilled workers. I'll write down SK, who can build a wall in 20 days. Then there are 8 semi-skilled workers who can build a wall in 25 days. And then there are, this I'll write down semi-skilled workers, SSK. And then 10 unskilled workers who can build a wall in 30 days. Now, this ratio is actually inversely proportional. What I mean to say is, if the number of workers is reduced, the number of days taken to complete the wall or build the wall will increase. That is, if 5 skilled workers are building the wall in 20 days, if I talk about one skilled worker, the time taken by a single skilled worker will increase. And how much time it is going to increase? It will be multiplied over here. So this will become 100. So one skilled worker will take 100 days to build the wall. Similarly, one semi-skilled workers. How I can obtain that? I'll multiply 8 with 25, which will be nothing but 200 days. And I'll have 10 into 30. So if I talk about one unskilled worker, it will take 300 days. Right. Now, in this video, I'm going to introduce another method, and this is actually a shortcut method. So if you can you solve the question using this method, it will save you a little bit of time. So what I'll assume is I'll take the LCM of these three values, the 100, 200, 300. So the LCM of 100, 200, and 300, that is the time taken, which is going to be 300 only. And I'll assume this to be total work unit. So I have 300 units. Therefore, the building a wall is a work of 300 units. Right. Now I'll find out the speed. So let's find out the speed. Again, speed of the three categories that I have been given. So the speed of skilled worker is going to be, see, if there are 300 units and the skilled worker is taking 3 days, that is, its speed is 3 units per day. Right. What I'm doing is I'm simply dividing it. Similarly, for semi-skilled workers, it is going to be 300 by 200, that is 1.5 units per day. And one unskilled, if I talk about unskilled worker, it is going to be 1 unit per day. So you can see the proportion. The skilled worker will have a higher speed, the semi-skilled worker will have a lower speed, and the unskilled worker will have the lowest speed. Now what I have been given is I'll take the data from the question. I'll take the data from question to solve this question further. That is, there are 2 skilled workers. So I'll multiply the 2 times the speed of skilled worker, that is 3, plus 6 semi-skilled workers. 6 multiplied by the speed of semi-skilled workers, which he has seen is 1.5, plus 5 unskilled workers. 5 unskilled workers having a speed of 1 unit per day. These, let's say these all are working together for n number of days. So if they are supposed to build a wall, now building a wall, as we have assumed, is going to be 300 units. So this I'll assume to be 300 units. So simply what I have seen is I have taken the speed of each of the worker, each of the categories of the worker, and their numbers I have multiplied, and have multiplied it into the number of days they are going to work in order to complete a wall which is of 300 units. So if you solve this, you'll get 6 plus 9 plus 5 is equals to 300, or this is going to be 20. So 20 into n equals to 300, or n will be simply 15 days. So your correct answer is going to be 15 days. You can also use the method that we had discussed in the previous question, or this method. This method initially will look a little bit of complicated, but as the time proceeds, this is one of the easiest method, and it can help you in finding out the answer in the quickest possible time. Now let's see the next question. Now, coming to the verbal aptitude part of GATE 2012. So first question was, choose the most appropriate alternative from the options given below to complete the following sentence. The sentence is, I blank to have bought a diamond ring. The options are have a liking, or should have liked, or would like, or may like. Now, the answer obviously is going to be would like, because if you complete this sentence would be, I would like to have bought a diamond ring. Now I'll explain you some technical terms of tenses over here. See, have bought a diamond ring is something which is about from the past, plus it is something which is missed, right? So if there is, we are talking about something which is from the past, the work which was done in the past, which should have been done in the past, but we have not done it. So in that case, we always use would. Also, if you talk about the verb, it is the third form of verb over here, right? So with third form, we always use would, not may or have, right? If you cannot use have because have is already there, should again will not come because it's we are talking about past. May is about unsurety, but since we are talking about past and it is already done, may will not be used. So we have used would. Would will be the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. Choose the most appropriate alternative from the options given below to complete the following sentence. It's similar to the previous one. Food prices blank again this month. They have raised, they have raising, they have been rising, they have arose. See, raised or raising is actually wrong. These two words are wrong because they does not mean something which is increasing. Okay, I'll write down words are wrong because they are not rising something. If they the increase of food prices would have led to something some other things, then these words might have been used. But since it is not like so, these two words are already incorrect, and these two options are eliminated. They have arose. This also word is incorrect. So the only option which is left is have been rising, and have been rising is a continuous form. So again, this month it is going month and they have been rising. So they have been rising from the past till now. This is what this sentence actually means. So the correct answer would be the food prices have been rising again this month. Moving on to the next question. Choose the most appropriate alternative form of options given below to complete the following sentence. The administrator went on to implement yet another unreasonable measure, arguing that the measure were already blank and one more would hardly make a difference. Right. So the administrator, they went on to implement something, but there are two words or two phrases that you have to keep in mind. Yet another unreasonable measure. So there are already some measures and they have come up with another. Right. So the measures were already there. Okay. So the new measure, again, it's surely unreasonable. That is one of the thing. If you talk about reflective or luxuriant, this is a non-negative word, right? Non-negative word. They're positive words. But the sentence talks about something negative. If you see, one more would hardly make a difference. This is something which we use when we are giving some negative emotions. Utopian is a different thing. It's something which is uh, ideal, ideal condition, right? So it is not again not applicable to this condition. So only option left is unpopular, and also unpopular suits to this scenario set up by the sentences. So if I use them, like the administrator went on to implement yet another unreasonable measure, arguing that the measures were already unpopular. So they were already unpopular, and one more would hardly make a difference. So it will also again become unpopular. The correct answer becomes unpopular. Again, the next one from the verbal ability. Choose the most appropriate alternative forms of options given below to complete the following sentence. To those of us who had already thought him as timid, his dash came as a surprise. Now, timid over here is a word which you should know of the meaning of. So this is fearful. The meaning of timid is fearful. This is option C. Right. So to those who always thought him as a person who is fearful, that his dash came as a surprise. Now I need to find out a word which is something about fearlessness. So let's talk about the first word is the answer, which actually means fearlessness, the intrepidity. But to come up to this answer, let's look into the meaning of other words. Inevitable. Inevitable, something which is unavoidable, which again does not matches to the scenario over here. Inability again is not something related to uh, fearlessness, rather that it's more about lack of skill. So this kind of word is here to confuse you, nothing else. Inertness is something which is related to inactive. We usually use inert gases, if you remember it from chemistry. So it's something which is related to inactive, again not applicable for this case. So the correct answer over here would be intrepidity, which is fearlessness. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, now comes the part of quantitative aptitude. The arithmetic mean of 5 different natural numbers is 12. The largest possible value. Okay, the largest possible value. So we can have different combinations over here, but we are supposed to find out the largest possible value over here. And we have been given the options. So we'll go and try to eliminate the options one by one. So first of all, 5 different natural numbers are there. So I have x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus x5. Right. And the mean has been given. So I am going to divide it by 5. And this answer I'm going to get is 12. So if I just take the cross multiplication, I know that x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus x5 is equals to 60, because 12 into 5 is 60. Now, if I start eliminating the option, I'll start from the largest number because I'm supposed to find out the largest possible value. So if I take any of the x equals to 60, the rest of them will become 0. But 0 is not a natural number. Natural number starts from 1. So this option is incorrect. Right. So 60 is eliminated. Next option is 50. Yes, we can take 50 and rest of the numbers can be 1, 2, 3, 4 or anything. Right. So it can be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So this will become equals to 60. Right. This is just a combination I'm giving you for an example. Since the numbers are not given, so we can take any possible things, but the largest possible value among number can be 50 only. And this is based on the options, right? So I am trying in such kind of questions, you had to eliminate the options, right? If the answer would have been something different like 55, then we should have also tried 55 over here, right? And there is no need to go to 40 and 12 because we got the largest number, right? So rest of the options are we are not supposed to look at. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, now this is an interesting question about probability. Two policemen, A and B, they fire once each at the same time at an escaping convict. The probability that A hits the convict is 3 times the probability that B hits the convict. The probability of the convict not getting injured is 0.5. The probability that B hits the convict is, we are supposed to find out what is the probability of B getting injured. So let's try to see. Let's say the two policemen. So I'll say that probability of A hitting the convict is 3 times the probability of B hitting the convict. This is given. So this becomes one of my case. Now I'll stack another case, that is Z, that the convict is injured. Let's say Z is an event which says that the person has been injured, the convict has been injured. So probability of Z as it has been given is that it is injured is 0.5. And this is also going to be the probability of Z prime, which is the person not getting injured. So if, sorry, the probability of not getting injured is given. So the probability of getting injured will also be equal because it's 50-50. Either the person can get injured or he or she cannot get injured. So the probability is going to be 50-50. So it's going to be 0.5 for both the case. Right. Now let's say the probability of B be any number x. So the probability of A becomes 3 times x. Right. And the probability of B prime, that is, okay, what is the probability? What is probability of A? That is A hits the convict. So the probability of P of B is B hits the convict. Probability of B prime is B does not hits convict, which becomes 1 minus x. Similarly, P of A prime, which is A does not hits convict, this becomes 1 minus 3x. So I got this entire thing. I'll find out the probability that B that the B hits the convict. Okay. B hits the convict. So this will be equal to for finding out this, what we'll do is we'll find out the probability of Z. That is the convict is injured. Right. So this will be equal to, now if the convict is injured, how we can find it out? So either the policeman A is going to hit the convict, which basically means the B is not going to hit it, plus either A is not going to hit it and B is going to hit it, or probability that A and B, both of them, they are going to hit it. Right, these are three cases. I know that the probability of getting hit Z is going to be 0.5, which is going to be equal to, now substituting the values, I got the value of PA, which is 3x. I got the value of P prime, P of B prime, that is 1 minus x, plus P of A prime is 1 minus 3x, plus P of B is x, and both of them hitting is x into 3x. Now I got this equation. I need to solve this. So I'll just try to take this equation to the next page, which is equals to 0.5 equal to 3x minus 3x square plus x minus 3x square plus 3x square. So if you solve this, you are going to get an equation 4x minus 3x square is equals to 0.5, or 3x square minus 4x plus 0.5 equals to 0. Now this is a quadratic equation. You can solve it simply by assuming this to be A, assuming this to be B, assuming this to be C, and the roots are going to be plus or minus, sorry, minus B plus or minus under root of B square minus 4AC divided by 2A. Right. On solving this, you'll get the two values of x. So I'm skipping the calculations, but I insist that you complete this calculation and find out the two values of x. The value of x you are going to get is going to be 1.193 or 0.1396. This value will be eliminated as probability cannot be greater than 1. So your answer is going to be 0.1396, which is nothing but 0.14. This is going to be your answer. And if you see, this is what we have assumed, that the probability B hits the convict is X, and the answer we are getting is 0.14. The main idea of this solution lies in this equation only. So need to understand this equation. This equation talks about three terms. Like when A hits the convict, B does not hit the convict. When A does not hit the convict, B hits the convict, or when A and B both of them hits the convict. For each of these, we have assumed x, 3x, 1 minus x, 1 minus 3x, and we had taken the condition that there are 0.5% or there is 50% chances of the convict getting injured or not getting injured in any case. Right? The equation is going to be same, and then you have to solve the equation. That's it. Right. Moving on to the next question. This one is a bit complicated, so I request you to just take a pause, take a pen and notebook, and try to solve this one to get a better understanding of these kind of questions. So this is more about data. This question is more about data. So let's look into it. The total runs scored by 4 cricketers, P, Q, R, and S in years 2009 and 10 are given in the table below. The player with the lowest percentage increase in total runs. So over here, you have to find out it's not the lowest increase rather than lowest percentage increase. So I'll try to create this table again. So let's talk about player 2009, 2010 increase. I'll write down delta runs and then we'll find out the percentage increase. Right. So these are P, Q, R, and S. In 2009, I have been given 802, 765, 429, and 501. 1008, 912, 619, 701. Now I'll find out the percentage change in run. So the first one that you are going to get is going to be 206. Second one is nothing but 912 minus 765. You can solve it using calculator. It will come 147. The third one is 619 minus 429, which is 190. And last one, it's simple, 701 minus 501, which is 200. So if you try to find out the lowest increase, the answer will be Q. Sorry. But we are supposed to find out percentage increase. So for percentage increase, we had to take a reference, and the reference in this case is going to be the year 2009. So you are supposed to find out the ratio 206 by 802, 147 by 765, 429 by 619, and sorry, I made a mistake over here. This will be 190 by 429 and 200 by 501. Now, if you find out the ratio, this ratio turns out to be 0.25, 0.19, and the lowest among them is Q. So the Q is going to be the correct answer. In this particular case, the percentage increase is lowest in Q, and the increase is lowest in the Q, and the percentage increase is also lowest in the Q, but it is not always the same case. So you have to be careful whether percentage is asked or simply the lowest increase in total runs has been asked. Let's look into the next question. Next question is, if a prime number on division by 4 gives a remainder 1, the number can be expressed as sum of square of two natural numbers, sum of cubes of two natural numbers, the sum of square roots of two natural numbers, and the sum of cube roots of two natural numbers. Now, what this question actually says is, if I divide a number by 4 and I get a remainder of 1, what kind of numbers I'm going to get? So let's for this kind of questions you have to uh, solve them, right? You have to solve them using options. Okay, let's say what is the sum of squares of two natural numbers? So I'll start from 1 plus 4, right? That is nothing but 1 square plus 2 square, right? So you get 5. Now, if you divide 5 by 4, if I talk about remainder, what remainder I'm going to get is 1. So this condition is satisfied. Similarly, let's take some other example, 2 square plus 3 square. So it's going to be 4 plus 9, that is 13. If I divide 13 by 4, the remainder is going to be 1. Again, this condition is satisfied. You can take any other numbers. I'll just take some other random numbers. Let's say 4 square plus 1 square. So 16 plus 1, that is 17. Again, 17 by 4 will give you a remainder 1. You can try with any numbers, 6 square plus 3 square. So I'll get 36 plus 9. That is, yes, 45. And again, 45 divided by 4, the remainder is going to be 1. So this is true in all the cases. So this becomes your correct answer. What I have done is I have tried this option by option. You can try for other options as well, right? If you want to get more confirmation. So just for an example, I'm going to do it for option B, right? Though I have understood that A is going to be the answer, let's do it for option B. So I'll find out the cube of two numbers, that is 1 cube plus 2 cube, that is 1 plus 8 equals to 9. Now 9 divided by 4 gives you remainder 1. So this situation is correct. But if I take another example, let's say okay, I missed one thing, that we are talking about a prime number, right? So I cannot over here. If you see, we are talking about, so this example won't be applicable. All these numbers, they are prime number, and then divided by 4, it will give you 1, right? So we are talking about the prime numbers only. Okay. So if there is no prime number, then this may not be true. So if you see, like 9 is not a prime number, right? Not a prime number. Actually, you are not going to get a prime number ever. All right. If you're doing this, the sum of cubes, so there are chances you may get or you may not get, but this is not a prime number. So this theorem is this particular statement is not applicable. The same thing you can try with other options as well, which are not going to work. What I mean to say is, in this kind of questions, you have to go option by option. The first option, it has no, it has followed the condition given in the question. So I think the first option is the most suitable one, and A would be the correct answer. Uh, there's one thing which I missed. You should focus on is we are talking about a prime number. So prime number on division by 4 gives a 1. Then it can be represented as a sum of squares of two natural numbers. So any prime number that you take, let's say 23, right? And if I divide it by 4, obviously I'm not going to get 1 as a remainder. So this is not applicable. Maybe some other numbers that if you're talking about, let's say 29. So if I divide 29 by 4, I'll get 1 as a remainder. So 29 can be represented as sum of square. Yes. 5 square plus 2 square. So that will be equal to 29. So similarly, we are talking about prime numbers, and any prime number, it can be represented as sum of squares of two natural numbers if or when divided by 4, it gives a remainder of 1. This is actually a theorem. This is actually a theorem. So you can just remember it as a theorem, and then you can complete it as a statement. You don't have to follow it. Okay, moving on to the next question. 2 points 4P and 0Q lie on a straight line having a slope 3 by 4. The value of P minus Q. We are supposed to find out the value of P minus Q. Now, this is a pretty simple question. We know that the slope of line, the equation of slope of line is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. In this case, we have x1 y1 is equals to 4p and x2 y2 is equals to 0q. So I'll simply substitute the value. I have the value of slope 3 by 4. Y2 is q, y1 is p. X2 is 0, x1 is 4. So minus 4 is what I'm getting. So I'll get 3 into minus 4 upon 4 is equals to q minus p. If I take negative common from both the end, I'll get the p minus q value, which is going to be equal to 3. And this is what I'm supposed to find out. So your correct answer would be 3. It's quite simple. You just need to remember the equation of slope of a line. Let's see the last question. The last question is in now this is a comprehensive type of question where a paragraph has been given and you have to find out the answer. So in early 19th century, theories of social revolution were inspired less by biology than by conviction of social scientists that there was a growing improvement in social institutions. Progress was taken for granted, and social scientists attempted to discover its laws and phases. Discover. Now, which of the following inferences may be drawn with greatest accuracy from the above passage? And we are talking about social scientists. So, social scientists did not question that progress was a fact, did not approve biology. It's not like they did not approve biology because they were less inspired, but they rejected it was not there. So this option is eliminated. They framed the laws of progress. No, they discovered. They did not framed. They discovered. It has been given clearly that they discovered. So this is also incorrect. If they emphasize biology over social science, no, this is incorrect. They actually emphasize social science over biology. So the option that given the red suits over here is they did not question that the progress was a fact. Right. How we can say that? Because there is a statement which says that the progress was taken for granted. They did not question that progress was a fact as progress was taken for the granted, and this is also incorrect. So simply, I just need to find out the important words which I underlined over here in the statements, and once you find it out, you can answer the questions. So this completes the 10 question of GATE 2012. This entire series is dedicated to our guru and mentor, late Shri Dr. E. Natarajan. He was a Dean at CEG, Anna University, Chennai. For more regular updates, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we have online and offline classes. You can contact for the classes on the given numbers. A free test series is available on the website given on the screen as well as in the description. If you want to attempt the test series and improve your preparation for GATE Aerospace exam, you can subscribe it now. Thank you so much.